In midst of vast meadows, locate my post-white home with huge windows. Under the untinted blue sky, white clouds floating like needles walk spreading. Rising golden rays of sun slant from hills around. In my pristine land, a perfect manifestation of pervasiveness of nature's wonder. The network of swift following rivers down the slope with a gushing sound. The whole village looks like an embroidered carpet, unfolded, with interlacing walls of small rocks that shine like marbles in the sun. Young budding twigs in the spring give relief to keen eyes that longing for greenery after the barrenness and inertia of winter. Strong winds convey the message of liveliness of summer with their whistling sound. Lands and rivers gradually thaw in response to the lengthening day and the sunshine. The willows and crops stand and wave. Looking at them, it feels that one's dancing to their rhythm. Transforming into summer, farmers start their activity with their plans for the season. Tilling and moistening and nourishing of the land begins with loud songs of season. Drizzling rain and thunder infuses hills with life and delights birds and people. Young calves and cows nourish on green patches of meadows. A rainbow bridge connects the hill on the side to the other. The small channels of water spread everywhere, their silvery water reflecting the sun and creating verdant green in the valley bottom. In the starry night, sleep dwells in the mind peacefully, while the sounds of the stream can still be heard from the half-open window. Hearts dance to the tunes of chirping birds, even if it is too early to be waken up in the morning. The spirit rises up when one prays with incense spreading in all the rooms through open wooden doors. Creative summers transform into abundant winter with wealth of grains, vegetables, stockpiles of butters, dry fruits, and cheese. People store them for the winter to be consumed while sitting beside warm fire. While sparrow bleat audio, willows become yellow and golden brown, concealing their green outfits. The water in those channels changes into spindly eyes, tempting kids to break it and place it into the mouth. With the changing form of liveliness into slow inertia, the winter begins. The land sleeps under a sheet of snow with kids playing, skating on the snow. Rivers and streams become layered with ice above and water flowing beneath. People pierce the ice layer and makes hole to fetch out water. White and grey smoke plumes rises from the chimneys installed in houses, reflecting warmth and the dexterity to adapt with nature. When sun rises, it shines so bright that it promptly melts the snow and steam floats up, bearing with the scent of the soil. This is the land where I grew up, and as my dear friend said, that this country has a diverse view about China, I have my own. There is a hope for better understanding, awareness and trust between the people of China and India. But change needs to take place. The notion of rivalry and border-centric approach distorts the possibilities of mutual awareness. The limited flow of information add on to it. Most of the common man in India hears too much about the border disputes, and the frequency of such news and TV channels airing it is enormous. What makes me surprised is that there are only 4 journalists who are covering the China. But the amount of news that is airing and the headlines and the sensational news is coming up, it seems that thousands of them are covering. Transcending these matters of diplomacy, a friendship between Chinese and Indian can be like an oasis in a desert, which grow greener as time passes by. This can be a true example of juxtapose, when a city girl coming from China meets with a girl grown up in rural area of fairy tale souls. They know each other, grow up with larger outlook, and become more receptive and appreciative for differences and realizes more about common shared problems. Their existence is multi-layered, be it the society they have been part of, or be it the geography, that is to say, intermountain valleys of Trans-Himalaya, or low-lying area of Assam, or amidst the skyscrapers of Beijing, and the most importantly, their way of life. But gradually, these differences take backstage. They started realizing more about the common problems. The contrasting things amongst them becomes more complementary. For example, the city girl is very active and racing against the time, makes others more conscious about time. On the opposite of it, the girls from fairy tale-like world tells her to be little slower and careful. These kind of relationships that develop over the years could perhaps be the precursor of knowing each other better. The sense of otherness or differentness for the people of distant lands seems to be ingrained in our mind. During the course of my education until now, especially in JNU, I met many non-Ladakhi people. All of them have given me unique experiences and cherishable moments. We became friends, cared for each other, and shared close connections. Some of my Ladakhi peers would often ask me this question: how can you adjust and get close with people not from Ladakh? They mean to say some from North India or some non-Indians. There is a typecast distinction in the mind about being Ladakhi or non-Ladakhi, being an Indian or being a foreigner. Something very distinct that cannot come to a middle way. This kind of sense of being incompatible is all the more strong when it comes to a Chinese friend. One of my friends asked me a question with some suspicious expressions. How do you know this Chinese? She's a good friend of mine, I just replied. But he stressed again on the word how. How do you know this Chinese? I just replied that we happen to be in the same university during our master course. But I understood the underlying reason why he asked me this question. It is typically because of the distinction he feels regarding a foreigner, especially a Chinese, and an unlikely friendship. These kind of suspicion are all the more possible when what we hear about our neighbor China is repeated news reports on border issues and rivalry. But what I feel is, if one allows the basic human feelings to nurture, this distinction gets diminished and ultimately, hopefully, maybe it will wipe out. Hiding in the distant land, squaring with busy lives, almost twin of mine, when speaks in a tender voice, it fills me with all smiles. Growing up has to go on. Let's mature a bit more. Try to adhere to barriers. That's the dream of future. Will the dream come true? Thank you.